homemade Thai food, a drunken noodle delight. Today, Moonshine Place Kitchen. And welcome to the Moonshine Place Kitchen once again. Boy, do we have a treat for you today. One of my favorite meals to make, to eat. Just absolutely a fantastic thing to do. We're talking about Thai food, drunken noodle Thai food. I almost forgot the name of it. Anyway, there's quite a bit of ingredients involved in this, so let's get right into it. We're going to start off with, we're going to get a bowl here to mix up. We're going to start off with about a quarter cup of oyster sauce. Now, I'm using this Panda brand oyster sauce. This one I found I like the best. There's got to be an Asian food supply store near you somewhere. That's generally where I buy these ingredients. It's not that they're that expensive to buy, and they go a long way. So each time you make the dinner, it really pays. You know, if you spend a few dollars on some of these sauces, it really pays to have them in stock, okay? The next thing we're going to add is 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. Most everybody's got that, right? And then 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. If you don't have sesame oil, you should have it in your stock. I'm going to make sure I get all that in. Sesame oil has a very earthy taste. I really like sesame oil in a lot of the things I cook. I really enjoy it, okay? The next thing we're going to put in is 1 tablespoon of, it says right here, we're going to go to this camera. You see that? That says Lucky Fish Sauce. You see that? Let me get up closer. You see that says right there, Lucky Fish Sauce. How do I know that? Because it says it on the other side of the bottle. Anyway, we're going to stick a little bit of that in there, okay? And then we're going to go with a tablespoon or a teaspoon of soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of cane sugar. And that's going to be our basic marinade to begin with. All right, so we're going to mix that up really well, and that's going to be our marinade. All right, I've already gotten a little bit better than a pound of pork tips here that I actually, they don't come up that small when you buy them. So I chopped them up. They come up about 3 times as big as that. So I chopped them up into about thirds. Each piece is roughly about 1/2 by 1 inch, something along those lines. Now this sauce is just enough to get the marinade done to begin with for these tips. But later on we're cooking, we may make the sauce over again to actually add to the cooking of the dish. But that's basically enough to get the whole thing started. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick that in the bowl, and simply I'm going to turn this over a little bit. I'm going to put some cellophane on it, put it back in the refrigerator. I'm going to let it sit for 4 to 6 hours. It's really good if you let it sit overnight, but lately I haven't had the time to do that and get everything done. So I'm just going to put this in. Right now it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm thinking 4 or 5 hours. We'll start cooking this early in the afternoon. And that already looks really good. So there you go. I'm going to put a little cellophane on it, wrap it up, get in the fridge. We'll be back. Don't go away. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back, and we're ready to now blanch our flat noodles. And we're going to start with Ban Phu Vietnam. These are Vietnamese rice noodles. We'll get over this camera so you can see these. These are the extra large flat noodles. I find these work kind of the best. And the idea here is that we're going to, I've got a pot of boiling water, and it's boiling hard. The idea is we're going to cook these relatively fast, and we're going to blanch them in ice cold water. We're going to shut them right down. We're not going to cook them all the way. We're just going to sort of get them started, because later on we're going to go ahead and we're going to stir fry those right on the griddle. We're going to cook on the griddle. So they go right in the pot right away. We'll bring that back to a boil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said a moment ago, is we're going to get them right into an ice bath. Don't go away. I'm going to flip this right over very quickly. Don't go away. And we're back. The noodles have been cooking for about, I want to say about 2 minutes or so, more or less. And they're about al dente right now. They're still a little bit firm, yet they've softened up quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some ice in a big bowl. And we got to shock these. I'll put it all in. I can get it all in. Okay. A little water. And we're going to try and shock these to keep them from cooking any further. And the cold water will help to keep any of the starch or anything from really becoming a problem. And they won't stick together either. So I may add a little bit more cold water and ice to this, but we'll go ahead and get that right in. And basically all we're doing right now is blanching these like I already said. It's not that big a deal. And we'll get this done, and when we come back, we'll go outside. Like I mentioned before, we're going to be working on the griddle. We'll start sauteing, we'll start stir frying and sauteing all of our vegetables. There's quite a bit of vegetables that go into this dish. And we'll get all that going on, and the last thing we'll do is we'll stir fry these noodles. Don't go away, it's really exciting. This is kind of neat stuff. Hang in there. Moonshine Place Productions produces several shows on YouTube, including the popular Moonshine Place Kitchen, restaurant reviews and other shorts, full-length documentaries and docuseries, a look at wildlife in Mutual Melbourne Wild Kingdom, Moonshine Place Productions, a rising beacon of light. All right, welcome back, welcome back. I've got the griddle all fired up now. It's all hot and everything and ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is get a little sesame oil. I'm going to get a little sesame oil down on the surface. Now you can use vegetable oil too if you'd like, but I like to use that sesame oil to add a little bit extra flavor and get our pork going. Alrighty. Now you could go ahead and cook this in a wok. You can cook it in a big frying pan. It really doesn't matter. I just like to use the griddle. It gives me a lot of room as we're cooking up everything here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of pepper to the pork right now. Get a little bit more heat up on that. All right, and as you know, from watching all of our shows, you know I like a lot of pepper. Now I'm not going to add any salt because the soy sauce, it carries quite a bit of salt in it. So does the fish sauce. The fish sauce carries a lot of salt in it too as well. So we'll just stir this up for a few minutes here. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move this over to this side of the grill. Okay. And over here, I'm going to go ahead and add the peppers and the carrots. All right. And what we're going to do, here it is. We're going to start by steaming these a little bit. Shove a little water under there and get those steaming. Keep our pork moving. Let's get that out of the way. All right, our meat should be about ready. Let me see if I get one here. Yeah, the meat's cooked. So we'll leave this over on just the warm side of the griddle. All right, let's move this over to the middle. That's what I like, a little assembly line action when we're cooking. Okay. So what we'll do here is I'll get the lid back down on those vegetables again, and the onion will go on. Actually, let me add a little bit of oil for the onion, just a tad of oil. It really doesn't come out heavy with all this oil, but I like to add a little bit of oil when I do these onions. We want to kind of caramelize them up kind of nice, okay? So our vegetables are looking pretty good right now. So I'm just simply going to move these right along to the meat. We're going to add more salt and pepper, a little bit of salt and pepper later, okay? Get that mixed up. All right, we'll move our onions to the center. Let that keep cooking. And then over on the side here, we're going to add our snow peas and our broccoli. All right. So we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to get these, we're going to steam these a little bit to begin with. Let me get these pulled together. Now the reason I'm cooking these in bunches is because some of these items take a little bit different time to cook. Like the onions take a little bit more time than, for example, the mushrooms, okay? So I want to keep them separate while they're cooking so I don't burn one than the other for obvious reasons. And those onions are looking pretty good, so we'll get those mixed in. That's looking pretty good. All right, keep things moving over here. See how that's looking. Oh, that smells delicious. I love these snow beans. I really like these flat beans. That's a nice little combination. Boy, I'll tell you what, you could put that with a piece of fish, that'd be good too, you know? Get that with a little bit more water. It'll steam right in the open. And here comes the mushrooms. The zucchini. And the bean sprouts. So let's get a little bit of water on those guys. Get these pulled together a little bit. This dish is mainly vegetables. It's sort of really, the meat is really not the biggest part of a drunken noodle. It's mainly vegetables and noodles. It really is. The meat is just an additional flavor that goes into it. It's extremely filling, and it's not really an expensive dish to make. It's really not. There goes our garlic. Get that sauteed up a little bit of garlic. Get that mixed in. Our scallions we're going to add in a little bit later when we add the ginger, because we really don't want to cook the scallions that much. So the next thing we're going to do at this point, let's move everything over to the side here. Keep for safekeeping. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more sesame oil put down. A little bit. And here comes our noodles. Now, the noodles, as you can see, they're not sticking together. They're all looking really good. Okay? We blanched your doughs a few minutes ago. They're really looking fine. All right, so we get them on, and we'll go ahead and saute these up. And they'll pick up the natural essence of everything we've cooked. You see, we still have some of our flavoring from our original marinade. The noodles will actually suck up everything right off that cooking surface. You see they're turning brown? And I probably could put just a hair of our marinade on there. I mixed up a little bit more marinade after we were done with the meat this morning. And I probably could mix a little of that in, but we'll mix that in once we're finishing up the dish. Okay, at this point, we're going to start to combine everything, so I'll bring everything over from that side to this side. Maybe I won't lose anything when I'm doing it. Okay. Now this makes a lot of food. You can feed a family of at least 6 with this in one shot. We like to make this much because we eat it a couple days in a row. It makes for a good meal, 2 meals and a lunch. And it's really, once again, it's sort of a super saver recipe. It doesn't really cost a lot to do this. Like I said, it's mainly vegetables and noodles. And the meat is very inexpensive. The pork tips are very inexpensive. We'll drip a little bit more of our marinade on. Doesn't take a lot. Fresh ginger. Got to get some fresh ginger in the action. And don't be afraid of the ginger. It really likes the ginger flavor. This Drunken Noodle really likes to have a lot of ginger flavor in it. Now you might be asking yourself, geez, Thai food is usually spicy. Where's the spices? Ha 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 ha. We're going to discuss the spices in a few minutes because the spices come in later at the dinner table. The reason we do that is because we really don't want, for people that can't eat spices, we don't want to bombard them with a lot of hot, spicy food in case they don't want it, you know? So here we go. Get all this pulled over. I can go ahead and shut all that off. We don't need that. There we go. So that's about it for the grill. We're going to go ahead and get this off the grill and get it into our pan and dish it up, and you'll see how it looks when it's all done. We're going to add a little sesame seed, and I'm going to tell you and show you all about the hot sauce, the finishing hot sauce, what we like the best, what really works the best. So we'll be back in a minute when we have this plate up and on the table. Don't go away. And we're back, and perhaps, just perhaps, the most important part of this dish is the chili paste, which will give it the heat, that spiciness that you expect from Thai food. What we've always used is this Hoi Fung Sambal Olik. That's the label, but this particular chili paste has been impossible to get as of late. We just recently got more Hoi Fung chili garlic sauce with a just slightly different label, which tastes just about the same. So I'm not sure. The gold label is what we always like. Maybe they just changed labels, but this is pretty close to it, but you got to have a little of this. At any rate, there's the dish. There you have it. If you take a look now, the finished dish, like we mentioned already, not very expensive to make, kind of healthy, full of flavor, absolutely excellent, not too greasy, a little bit of sesame seed on top, and there you go, a beautiful dinner. We want to thank you once again for joining us on the Moonshine Place Kitchen, and we look forward to serving you again.